Ahmed, Ali, Adams, Anderson, Ahmed, 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 Ali, Adams, Adams, Ahmed, Ali, Anderson, Azim, Bailey, Baker, Baxter, Begum, Begum, Baxter, Baxter, Ahmed, 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 Adams. Welcome to Melbourne, where the practice session is about to start for this weekend's Australian Grand Prix. The pre-race talking is over. Now it's time for the drivers to show their worth. An opportunity here then for the drivers to learn the track and learn the car, and of course work out all the little kinks that show up when the teams put these cars together at the circuit. Anthony Davidson, this is all very familiar to you, of course, so why don't you give us an idea as to what the drivers will be getting up to in these sessions?
I'd say the first responsibility for drivers during pre-practice is in gathering data for correlation purposes, which allows the engineers to match real-life data against the simulation. Secondly, the driver then needs to dial themselves into a circuit that they may not have driven around for a full year, which is a fact that's often overlooked. And then you finally focus on the details of car setup and the tyre wear. It's critical to have a good relationship with your engineer here so they can make the right adjustments at the right time to the car that ultimately bring out the performance you're looking for.
Okay, the track is green right now, so take a few laps to get the tyres up to temperature. Try and feel your way around. Okay, just want to remind you to keep an eye on your tyre temperatures, which you can do on the temperature panel of the MFD. We monitor carcass temperature and surface temperature, and you'll get the best performance when they're both inside a normal operating window. Surface temps tend to fluctuate faster, so try a few laps with the data open and get a There'll be a lack of rubber out on track. Try to take it easy for a couple of laps. Van Dorn ahead. Vettel behind. Well done, P1. You've just put in the quickest lap of the session so far. Okay, you have wing damage. This will be a major performance impact unless you box for a new one. Pitting this lap then. Come into the pits at the end of this lap. we've had to spend time repairing the damage to the car. Our best lap so far is a 1:39.3. All clear the garage, please. Car ready to leave. That looked bad. Are you alright? Let me know you're alright.
An interesting practice session there then. Let's remind ourselves of the top three, who are Hamilton, Verstappen and Nico Hülkenberg. That's it for practice then. We'll see you again soon. Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly. And as we wait, poised for the start of what will hopefully be a thrilling qualifying, why don't you tell us, Anthony Davidson, about the things you can do to really get the most out of a car in a session like this?
Well, you're largely limited by the Parc Fermé regulations, of course. Back in the old days, pre-2004, you'd work on both a qualifying setup and a race setup over practice, and then swap them over after qualifying. So the race car was quite different at times to the qualifying car. Nowadays, though, you have to find a compromise that works for both. There are a few things that you can still adjust during the session, such as the differential, the brake bias, and the front wing angle, but that's about it. So it's more about optimizing what you do have and adapting your own style to suit the track conditions.
As we wind down from the excitement of qualifying, here's a look at your top three. Hamilton, Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. So qualifying is complete and we're all set for an exciting race tomorrow. Your top three are Vettel, Raikkonen and Max Verstappen. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted. Hello and welcome from Albert Park, Australia for today's race. And I think it's shaping up to be a classic. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 16 corners and 3.3 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles an hour. The close proximity of the barriers makes accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. As the drivers complete their preparations down below us on the grid, one man who's no stranger to the pre-race pressure is Anthony Davidson, who joins me in the commentary box today. Great to have you with us, Ant. I'm sure you can tell us all about what goes through a driver's head before lights out.
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn one. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Kimi Raikkonen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Alonso, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Ocon, and Carlos Sainz. Leclerc, Grosjean, Sergio Perez, and Hartley, Gasly, Van Dorn, Marcus Ericsson, and Lance Stroll, Ricciardo, and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, be wary of the cars ahead braking suddenly into one. We could ruin our race if we hit them. Good luck. Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Got that confirmed? Go, go, go. Stroll ahead. Okay, gap ahead is 27.6 seconds. They're on fresh Ultra Softs. Their tyres are 1 lap old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 50.9. Sirotkin behind. The gap to the car behind is 3.1 seconds. They're on fresh Ultra Softs. You currently hold 19th place. Stroll is ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 27.6 seconds. They're on fresh Ultra Softs. Sirotkin is behind you. The gap behind us is 3.1 seconds. They're on fresh Ultra Softs. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available. It should be a few laps at least before you start feeling too many tyre issues. They seem in good condition for the time being. Tyre wear rates are lower than we expected. Your tyres and brakes are getting too hot. Try and be less aggressive through the corners. Okay, we should be good on tyres for a while. The wear doesn't seem too bad at the moment. Just take care when you load them up. Weather shouldn't play a factor today. We're expecting it to remain dry throughout. Dries seem like the best tyre for now. We have 2 laps of fuel remaining. Okay, tyres still looking good, Nick. Let's keep them that way for as long as we can. The brakes and tyres are starting to overheat. You need to ease off in the corners. Stroll ahead. The gap to the car ahead is 29.4 seconds. They're on fresh Ultra Softs. Their tyres are 3 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:35.1. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. This is your final lap of the race. This is your final lap of the race. Tyres and brakes need cooling. Go easy into the next few corners, please. Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Great effort there from Ferrari to take the victory today. So Ant, How exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
So here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands. Ferrari on the top step once more. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
I think it's got to be Kimi Raikkonen. He's not always spectacular, but he quietly gets the job done. And that's the case today.
That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye, and see you again next time.